will win, Beatrice. Take good care of her now, boys. I want to get her up to mother in good shape. Shove her aft now, shove her aft a bit, shove her aft, yeah. Come over a little bit this way, eh? Lower right down now, clear the tank. There she goes. Lovely, grand. Come on, skipper, Bob. Here we are again, on our way, bound to Greenland. I want to introduce to you Mrs. Edward Stafford, Admiral Peary's daughter.
I'm very glad to be on board the Morrissey with Captain Bob, and we're planning to build monuments to my father's memory in Greenland.
Well, boys, take a good look at the New York skyline. It'll be a long time before you'll see it again. Well, Peary, have you been looking forward to this trip?
You bet I have. I've been waiting for it a lot at school.
How about you, Ed?
Yeah, I've been reading and studying about Greenland for a long time.
Good boy. You're going to have a good trip.
You bet.
We'll have you in the way of boats, hunting walrus, going around with the Eskimos. You'll have one grand trip. You'll come back, you'll be 2 inches higher and almost as big as I am. Everything is ship-shape on board. Never in better condition for going to sea. Even the cow is in the meadow and the pigs are in the penthouse. I wish you would all come along with us, but you'll see it now through Pathings. Goodbye. Come on, skipper, Bob. Here we are again, getting ready to follow the Peary's trail on my own little schooner Morrissey. Our base is Brigus, Newfoundland, my hometown, 1,200 miles north of New York. Brigus is a quaint old place, so let's take a look around. See those fellas near my little Morrissey. They're sailing for Capelin. And look, millions of them in the water. And at this time of the year, they're caught for food and even used for fertilizers. There seems to be no end to him. Several 100,000 barrels are taken every season. Sometimes the haul is so good that a whole barrelful will sell as low as a nickel. The farmers drive right into the water to get big loads, which they take home. In a lean year, when fodder is scarce, they even feed capelin to the horses. They like it as much as we do. Capelin are a delicious food. Why, I've eaten 50 at a time. They're that good. And if you don't believe me, come up and try them. A few of the fish are pickled and dried for the family's needs. But most all the loads are dumped for fertilizer, and it makes the soil very rich. Here's the minister's garden, equal to any in America. He's proved we can raise beets and carrots and help little boys grow. In fact, any vegetables can be grown in Brigus, including my favorite, big, juicy tomatoes. We had a big job loading my little Morrissey at Brigus. The wharf was a busy scene, for we had to stow everything on board, including the kitchen stove, which I'll show you later on. After we took on 12 barrels of water, we shoved off for Greenland with a lot of good-looking girls, waving goodbye, maybe to the Morrissey, but I hope it was to me. So here we are again, underway, heading across the North Atlantic. It's grand to feel the little Morrissey lifting under me as she footed her way with all sails set. While we forge ahead near Cape Farewell, we speak a big French fisherman, and she's reeling off knots, no mistake. But she's a long time passing us, for my own little Morrissey has taken them green. We're smack into the middle of one of those tropical twisters that come up here, and the schooner's shivering like a leaf. With a rising wind and sea, but we're forced to reef the mainsail, requiring all hands. It's a devil of a job, no matter how you look at it. Weighed down by a heavy deck load, my little Morrissey has taken plenty of punishment, but it probably hurts me more than it hurts her. Some of you folks who drive on rough roads ought to try David Strait to get a real shaking up. We have to be on the lookout. And believe me, I'm glad we've won through without carrying away a rope yard. Nearing the iceberg zone, I kept all hands busy building sledges for use at Cape York in hauling material for the Peary Monument. And we made them good and strong, as there was plenty of work ahead. They were finished when we sailed into the much-dreaded Melville Bay, the home waters of the big bergs. It took skillful ice navigating to con my little Morrissey to the berg-infested waters. Although we changed the watch every 4 hours, all hands slept in their clothes as we got closer and closer to the mountains of floating ice. I stayed on deck all the time for the touch and go. Suffering scissors! Look at that big one turn over without warning. If we hadn't swung the ship, she'd have rolled on us. Holy mackerel! Here's another, charging in like a wild bull. We've struck. She's shoving us over on the land ice and carried away the main boom. No chance to get clear unless we work fast. The boys went to it with a will, and my little Morrissey was kept full speed astern while all hands rushed over to break the ice on the lee side so that the berg could slide on. And while the crew were shoving at one end, working like fury, we were pushing at the other. There she goes, gradually swinging the berg. And now, look, boys, look! She's free. A close shave. But I'm feeling good now, so come along and land with me at Cape York. Right from the start, it was hard going. At times, millions of tons of ice discharged from the glacier made trips to the beach difficult. We had some narrow escapes. I fell in a crevasse, and if the lads hadn't pulled me out, why, I'd still be in cold storage. When the wind swept the water clear of ice for a bit, we rushed our machinery ashore to help the dogs and sleds. Even the very sand for the Peary Monument had to be screened, bagged and boated 8 miles. Why, in fact, everything but the stones had to be carried to the top. But with the dogs and Eskimo on the job, we kept at it, just as the discovery of the North Pole was made possible only by Eskimo and dogs under Peary's guidance. So the monument, to his memory, was made possible by the same means. The husky dogs earned their grub on this trip, pulling their hearts out on the slippery ice. We had to be careful about overloading, or we'd have lost too many dogs. As it was, a couple of my best dogs fell in a crevasse, like the one that nearly got me, and we never saw them again. The gasoline hoister did the work dogs and men couldn't. But even with the engine helping out, it was some job, believe me. And here's the camp, near the site of the monument, where everybody bunked and ate. At least once a day, Tommy regaled all hands with seal fresh from the ice. And while we eat seal, the Eskimo eat raw walrus full of vitamins. Next week, we'll all hunt walrus. Meat, good red walrus meat, is the only thing to keep men and dogs going in the Arctic. So the Eskimo were just tickled to death to join the hunt, bringing their kayaks aboard the Morrissey. While we headed for Whale Sound, the Eskimos sharpened their harpoons, repaired their kayaks, and blew up sealskin floats. All hands were galvanized into action by the cry of Arwig. Walrus! The water was alive with them, a happy sight. The Eskimos tumbled over the side into their kayaks, paddling like the devil himself to get at the tigers of the north. So we went out in the motorboat to lend a hand wherever we could. It was unusual to see the herd stay on the pan as we approached. But believe it or not, they hated to go in the water. Their hides were sunburned. We're right into their midst, and they're fighting to get away. Bull walrus on the rampage, with harpoons hitting them in all directions. There's Iwi in his little kayak, going right after a tough bull. Look out! He's charging! But Iwi gets him with a perfect throw, or he'd be a goner. The hunt over, we hauled in all the walrus we got, hoisting aboard the Morrissey. And here's the prize, 3,000 pounds of juicy walrus, every bit good to eat, and you bet I can eat my share. We soon sighted our Eskimo friends, coming out in their kayaks to see us. The rest of the tribe gathered on shore. Called the Peary Eskimo, they made the discovery of the pole possible. Real friends, none better. Look, there's Uta, last of the Eskimo who went to the pole with Peary. Sons of the other North Pole Eskimos also came down to the ship. And that Eskimo mother is carrying a baby born just 2 hours ago. I sure was glad to see Uta and his missus. He called her Money. You know, that's the Eskimo for egg. After he helped load the dogs, 135 real huskies just roaring to go. Uta enjoyed some mulligan stew with the rest. Then we talked over old times in my cabin. The gossip since 1909. And now our work begins. We landed at a sheltered spot at the foot of the glacier, rising 5 miles to the summit of Cape York. The Eskimos started taking loads to the spot I pointed out. Although the sleds could carry 1,000 pounds, we had to be careful. It was hard sledding to the top. Next week, I'll show you what the women did in camp while we were out hunting. My, but it's too good to miss. Top. Next week, I'll show you what the women did in camp while we were out hunting. My, but it's too good to miss. Woman's place is in the home, even in the Arctic. Taking care of children, husband and dogs keep their noses to the grindstone. Like housewives everywhere, their work is never done. And when one of the dogs howls with pain from sore paws cut by sharp ice, it's up to the Eskimo wife to cut out sealskin boots for him. Chewing the hide softens it. Some job, believe me. That makes them pliable, so they can be laced up with sealskin line. The dogs seem to know it's for their own good, although, like new shoes, the boots are uncomfortable at first. Preparing skins for clothing is a hard job. No bone to be chewed, then cushioned with grass that keeps out the cold and moisture. So at the close of day, with their babies on their backs, native mothers will wail the daylights out of her. No wonder the women work hard. They hate to be spanked. What a place for a toothless wife. Even the boots have to be chewed, then cushioned with grass that keeps out the cold and moisture. So at the close of day, with their babies on their backs, native mothers are fit subjects for an artist's brush, like this Eskimo Madonna. Marie Peary gives out few trinkets, and the Eskimo belles get a chance to doll up, imitating their white sisters. Here's one with our best bib and tucker. She'd be a riot anywhere. Next week, we'll all go back to work on the Peary Monument. Was a race against time, a devil of a fight against snow, wind, and frost. We even had to lug water to the base of the monument, some job on nippy days. The Eskimo were a big help from beginning to end. We needed all hands as the monument shot up in the air, and the higher it got, the more difficult it became to hoist the stone and materials aloft. Our master masons had plenty of help, laying stones and filling in, for it took in the neighborhood of 150 tons of stone to erect the 60-foot shaft, and there wasn't a pebble in the lot. We were anxious to finish the shaft before the weather broke, and it was really remarkable the way the monument sprang up. At last it was done, and we put a copper cylinder containing the Peary records in the cornerstone, placing the tablet over the opening. It was a red-letter day. With Peary's daughter Marie, the snow baby, beside me, we dedicated the monument to his memory, thanking one and all for their wonderful work and explaining to the Eskimo what the monument meant. There's the tablet that tells the story, and the Eskimos to whom it meant the most was good old Utah. With our work finished, we broke camp, packing our gear just in time to get away before the storm season. Once more aboard my little Morrissey, we sailed away, and our last look at the monument showed it as a memorial beacon to the greatest explorer of them all, Robert Edwin Peary.